the alien we built is systematic. It works off a set of senses and behaviours that drive those senses, and that reacts to both things in the environment and things the player does. We learned quickly that if you play against an alien that did the same thing every time, you had more information than the alien, and then the alien stopped being scary, because you could predict what it was going to do, and all of a sudden you had the upper hand. So when we made a decision to make that alien systematic and just go anywhere, it really, really does affect your fear and your perception of the creature, because when you sneak down a corridor and you've got your motion tracker up and you see it go one way, you think, right, I've got it, I'll back around this way, and all of a sudden it drops down a vent and just appears in front of you. It can be really, really scary. We don't have any prescribed path that the alien follows. People have said they've had similar experiences, have often done very similar things in the world, because if the alien hears something, he'll react to it. So if you start sprinting or use something in the environment, you'll notice him turn, he'll make a sound and move to investigate. So when people have played in exactly the same way, they've seen similar behaviours. And part of that is we have to rely on a certain amount of chaos from the player, because everyone plays in very, very different ways. And it's been great fun for us to see people pick up the controller, sprint through a level and then die, and then sprint through the level and then die, and then suddenly stop, and then crouch, and then walk slowly and think, yeah, this is what I need to be doing.
So how does the alien react to what he hears, sees, a little sound somewhere? What goes on in his head?
We have a very complex set of behaviours running behind it. The AI team here have done an incredible job of building this layered alien that can go through different sets of behaviours and react to what's going on in the world. It reacts to movement, it reacts to light. If you shine your torch, it has a stronger effect and it will notice you quicker. But one thing we wanted to make sure was that the alien, if we were to make a perfect alien killing machine, it would kill you every time. And that's not very fun. So we had to build in a certain amount of telegraphing, so that when the alien does hear something, you hear a change in the noises he's making and a change in his stance. So if you're just hiding in a corner and looking, you can see whether something you've done has affected the alien. We wanted to stay very true to the Alien film, and that's a 1979 aesthetic. Everything's really grimy and old tech, and it's all these big monitors and stuff, but there's no hologrammatic displays, there's no HUD, there's no things in the environment like markers, and we didn't want exclamation marks and things that let you know what he was doing. So a lot of the alien's work is around making you understand how he's behaving through his movement and his sounds. And that's been a real kind of key focus for the animation and art teams to get right. I mean, I really love all that stuff, and the artists have done a great job of recreating that 1979 feel of everything. One of the rules they use, which I really like, is they said that they wouldn't put anything in the game that they couldn't have built back on the set in 1979. So when they were designing things and creating things, they were just like, well, if we were to take a World War II radio and a modern TV, a portable TV that would look like that, and stick them together, what would that look like, and how would it work, and how would it feel? So your motion tracker isn't something you just display on the screen. It's this heavy thing you have to pick up and move around, and it kind of flickers and it feels like really old tech. Now, a lot of our reference stuff has been from the film, but Fox provided us with an incredible amount of information from things that didn't make it into the film, and also things like shots of the sets and designs and measurements, so we knew exactly how big things were and what materials they were made of, and we're really able to create this kind of template set of walls and panels and floors and ceilings and entire rooms that we could then expand from and duplicate. So when we are creating new areas and big spaces, kind of one look at them tells you, yeah, that's still Alien. It still feels like the world that would be in the Alien film.
Shall we play a game?
We knew we wanted to connect it to the original film. We knew we wanted to continue the storyline, and that's where we found this character, Amanda Ripley. She'd never really been explored in any of the fiction, but she was mentioned once in the Alien Special Edition, where you see a photo of this old woman who was Ellen Ripley's daughter, and we looked at this character and thought she'd never been expanded or looked at or anywhere, and we wanted a strong female lead as well, because that's something very true and core to the Alien franchise for us. So we had our character, we had the rough storyline we wanted to put together. We knew the Nostromo had been destroyed, and we said, okay, well, when the Nostromo had been destroyed, people would have been looking for it. and who would be looking for it. Again, we looked at Amanda and said, right, okay, so if she found the black box to the Nostromo, where could that be? And that led us to this station, Sevastopol. Now, the design behind this Sevastopol station is, it's a lot like a big business venture that someone set up in deep space. It's meant to be a big trading and business outpost that's going to be very, very profitable, but it's failed. It didn't quite work out. Not enough people went there, so the whole place is in a bit of state decay, and there's only a few people left there. So you've got this station that's built for about 5,000 people, so that gives us big, open, kind of more haunted house spaces to use. But there's very few people there because the station's run down and there's only kind of a custodial staff left. So being in that last stages of operation and then introducing an alien to that environment is that's where we get our interesting. You take the situation that you've got in the world, so the station falling apart, you see what you can add that adds tension and atmosphere. Things like just noticing that the little bird that kind of rocks that there was in the original film, just the sound of that squeaking in a room on its own can be absolutely terrifying. And just the sound of some footsteps or a rock. So the audio guys did an amazing job of building up this kind of bank of effects that we could use and things we could place in the environment, but also creating this sense that there was always something hunting you. So when you are in the world and you hear something up in the vents, you bring out the motion tracker, you're like, okay, there's nothing there at the moment, but you're still on edge. So it's that way of building up tension and dispelling it that is key in both the lighting and the audio of the game. Because people love the audio, but the lighting makes so much of it. If you've got something crossing a shadow, or you can't see and you have to bring up the torch, it adds so much more to what you need to do in the environment.